Birding on the southwestern edge of Europe, Portugal on the Iberian Peninsula offers a unique and enriching experience for both novice and seasoned birdwatchers. This region, at the confluence of three distinct bioregions, namely the North Atlantic, North Africa and the Mediterranean, is characterized by its diverse landscapes, mild climate and rich biodiversity. Southern Portugal, with its mixture of coastal cliffs, sandy beaches, wetlands, woodlands and agricultural landscapes, is a prime destination for birdwatchers from all around the world. Although I visited in summer, the best time to visit is during the spring and autumn migrations, but winter, while quieter, can still offer good birding opportunities, especially for waterfowl and waders. In total, around 400 different bird species have been observed in the region's boundaries, and this number increases slightly every year. Although primarily a family holiday, the areas I managed to cover are marked in yellow on the map and encompass most of the Algarve and the Alentejo plains, doing most of my birding between lying on the beach, sightseeing and eating the most amazing seafood. My birding starts in the small picturesque town of Tavira, located in the eastern Algarve, dominated by Tavira Castle and the Guilhão River, but it's the large expanse of salt pans lying to the southeast of the town that make Tavira an amazing birding destination. These traditional salt pans, or salinas, have been used for centuries and are known for producing high quality sea salt, but they also provide a crucial role in the local ecosystem and host a multitude of breeding birds. The salt pans are also an important stopover and feeding ground for migratory birds traveling along the eastern Atlantic flyway. During migration seasons, the area becomes a haven for birdwatchers who come to observe the diverse avian species that gather in the salt pans. As part of the eastern side of the Rio Formosa National Park, the salt pans around Tavira are protected under Portuguese and European environmental regulations. Our apartment was located on the eastern side of Tavira, and I had easy access to the nearby salt pans, and so started birding here almost straight away. We've just arrived in Tavira and moved into the apartment and all the rest, and I've just noticed some salt pans just below our apartment, so I've just nipped it across the road to come and have a look, and I've just literally started off and found a black-winged stolt and 3 chicks. So I got a chick down here and 2 chicks on the other side there. And I've also seen quite a nice largish lark fly across the road. So I'm just going to go and investigate that. But there's just salt pans all the way around here. It's at this point that I must just mention you're not actually allowed to drive around the salt pans. It's walking only. I had no idea, but one of the friendly workmen kindly let me know. Just pulled over the car here next to this pan. Unfortunately, I've got a pair of avocets that got a youngster in here, so they're not too happy with me, so I'm not going to stay here too long. I just wanted to give you a sort of a 360 of where I am. So this is just south of our place in Tavira. It's our fancy rental. There's also a pair of black-winged stolts, and I had a little tern fly over as well. So this is one of the adults here performing, so I'm going to move on quickly. I don't want to disturb them too much. Pair of little tern coming through here. A few avocets in the background. Got something down here, a little thing, probably Kentish plover. Just driven out into the middle of the salt pans. There's birds all around. Black-winged stolts. Loads of black-winged stolts on that side. A few flamingos. Little egrets just flown in. Little tern normally breed between April and July, but these two were still courting in mid-July. I found several nests walking around the salt pans, so you got to be careful where you walk and stay on the main paths as much as you can. I finally found the lark I saw earlier. It was a crested lark which showed very well besides one of the pans. After visiting the pans, I headed back to the apartment to be entertained by dozens of house martins nesting under the eaves of our roof. They breed in colonies across Europe, North Africa and the Palearctic, and winter in sub-Saharan Africa and tropical Asia. Building their mud nests can take several days and are often reused year upon year. They normally have 2 broods a year and have a very high 90% hatching rate. House martins are migrants, which move on a broad front. European birds are not funneled through the short sea crossings used by large soaring birds, but simply cross the Mediterranean and the Sahara. While migrating, they feed in the air on insects and usually travel by day. Also around our apartment, viewed from our balcony, were collared dove, barn swallows, and flocks of screaming swift, a personal favourite of mine. Every evening after a long hot day, my wife and I would sit on the balcony with cold drinks and just enjoy the show put on by all the hirundines and swifts right at eye level. In the evenings, I'd head northwest of Tavira looking for nightjars. So tonight I am just doing a bit of nightjarring. I'm chasing the red-necked nightjar. I've been told more or less where to come looking for them, and I've heard a couple already. So I'm just heading in the general direction of a call. Whether I'll see them tonight is a different story. But at least I'll get some audio and hopefully a flyover or two. But I'll bring you the action as and when it happens. I don't know if you can hear that. But that's the very peculiar call of a red-necked nightjar. So I'm just heading in that general direction. What a strange call. I've just been nightjarring in the UK, so to have a nightjar with a completely different call is quite awesome. This will be a lifer for me if I see it. So let's see. Oh my god. Right over my head. Redneck nightjar. Lifer. Flying across into the distance there. got a redneck nightjar out to our left here, somewhere there, and I think I've got a tawny here, I think. It's making a weird little contact call. Such a strange call. Don't know if you can hear this. Take the mic off and point it in the direction. They started calling at about 20 past 9, and now it is 9:45. So I'm starting to lose the light completely. There's a little bit of light in the distance there, but I've got a bird calling here continuously for about 10 minutes now. Such a different call to the European nightjar. Also, I didn't have any wing clapping or any other different call, just that one call. I don't know too much about the species, so I'll have to go home and read up a bit, whether they have any other calls or not. Just had some wing clapping now, which is interesting. Same as the European bird. The next morning we visited Tavira itself, but I still managed to squeeze in some birding while there. I've just come to the south side of Tavira. I'm going to walk the river a bit. Corin's shopping, so I've quickly run out. Got my binos and my camera in the bag, so I'll see what I can find. I believe there's a few salt pans just around the corner, which I'm going to check out. Then I'll have to head back to Corin. Got a magpie and about 20 or so red shanks right at the back of the pool there. Every muddy bank around the Algarve is home to hundreds of fiddler crabs, and it's the males that have the enlarged white claw called the major claw, which they use during the mating ritual, waving it to impress females, and in doing so mimic the action of violin players, hence their name. At low tide their burrows are exposed, and the crabs emerge. However, they only do so when the water temperature is above 18 degrees Celsius, so they don't come out during the winter months of November through to March. Males will fight over the best burrow sites, using their major claw-like boxes. They only live for about 2 years, and the fiddler crabs shed their shells as they grow, and can also regrow legs and claws. If a male has lost a major claw, a new one will develop on the same side during the next shell molt. Crabs feed on algae and fungus using their smaller claw. All over South Tavira are these salt pans, and the birding is quite good around them. Breeding, little tern, avocet, black-winged stolt, flamingos, the list goes on and on. Got a hoopoe up there. As I was a bit short on time, I simply did all my birding of this area right from the road that leads down to the Four Waters Pier, from where you catch a ferry across to Tavira Island. Or turnstone. little egret, little tern, spoonbills in the background, grey heron, red shanks, turnstone. It's now 1 o'clock. It's not crazy hot where you can't do anything, but it is definitely up there. I think it's about 31 or so. Not a cloud in the sky. Lovely. Avocet or pied avocet breeds across the Palearctic, Central Asia and onto the Russian Far East. It's migratory and winters in Africa and southern Asia, but some overwinter in milder parts of its range, like southern Spain and southern England. These birds forage in shallow brackish water or on mudflats, often scything their curved bills from side to side, feeding on crustaceans and insects. You'll have these birds almost constantly overhead, and this is the reason why, because almost every pan will have several chicks on them, and the adults will be making sure you don't linger and move on. After visiting Tavira town centre, we then moved on to Bay Beach to do a bit of sun tanning, but of course I can't keep still, so was off birding again, and soon found this lovely flock of greater flamingo. Greater flamingo are the most widespread and largest species of the flamingo family. They are found in northern coastal and sub-Saharan Africa, the Indian subcontinent, the Middle East, the Persian Gulf, the Gulf of Aden, the Red Sea, and the Mediterranean countries of southern Europe. Averaging between 110 and 150 centimeters tall and weighing between 2 and 4 kilograms. The largest male flamingos have been recorded to be up to 187 centimeters tall and weighing around 4.5 kilograms. Their color comes from the carotenoid pigments in the organisms that live in their feeding grounds. The greater flamingo resides on mudflats and shallow coastal lagoons with salt water. Using its feet, the bird stirs up mud, then sucks water through its bill and filters out small crustaceans, seeds, blue-green algae, microscopic organisms, insect larvae, and mollusks. The bird feeds with its head down, its upper jaw movable and not rigidly fixed to its skull. Like all flamingos, this species lays a single chalky white egg on a mud mound. The average lifespan of these birds in the wild is between 30 and 40 years, so they are relatively long-lived. I also found this Eurasian spoonbill feeding close by. This species is partially migratory, with more northern breeding populations moving south for winter, and differs from the African spoonbill, with which it overlaps in winter, in that the latter species has a red face, legs and no crest. This species is found widely in Europe, Asia and Africa. They are mostly silent even at their breeding colonies. The main sounds will be bill snapping and the occasional deep grunting and trumpeting noises. The nest is a platform of sticks and vegetation, which is either constructed on the ground on islands in rivers and lakes, or in dense stands of reeds, bushes and mangroves. They use their uniquely shaped beaks in a sideways sweep to filter out tiny fish, shrimps and other aquatic prey. I've got a bee eater just flying up there, and I've got another one just sat down on right in front of me. I'm gonna, oh no, it's taken off. I've just got a pair of bee eaters up here. One's flying pretty high. It was set down here, but it flew up and flew over my head. I got a few shots, which I'll show you now. Lovely. Just a single pair. Looks like they're carrying food, so probably got chicks somewhere there on that side. They're both on that far bank there now. I'm just walking back. Just got a pair of bee eaters sitting in a tree on the other side. I'm going to take a chance and see how close I can get to them. Just over there on the bank. It's a fair old walk, so they got to sit tight for a bit for me. Let's see if they'll hang in there. Be a lovely shot if I can get there. I enjoyed myself so much nightjarring the night before, I thought I'd do it all again tonight. So I've come to a new location for redneck nightjar in the northwest of the city of Tavira. It's now 9:20 and I've already heard a bird calling. So I'm just gonna, I presume it's just the initial kind of wake-up call. Interestingly, there's been reports of Eurasian eagle owl here as well, but we'll have to wait and see what that pans out to be. Yeah, it's a much larger area to cover for the nightjar, so we'll just see how it goes. There's another one just flown around the tree there. hear that? That's a lovely wing clapping. I had a male behind me and a female in front of me. There it comes. Oh, the road up high. Lovely. Gorgeous. Up high, up high. Wow, up really high. And around. Fantastic. It's just hovering up high. It's coming back towards us. Still high. Just below the trees there. Got another male calling out to the side somewhere. Excellent. Fantastic. Just out there. Flying. Down. Just at the top of that one there. Okay, that was an excellent session. 3 birds, 2 calling. So I presume 2 males and a female. Started off at about 9:15 with a female flying straight over my head, followed by I was going to say chirring male, but that's European Nightjar churs, with this calling male close to me, and then a second male further down the track. So excellent. Yeah, very successful. Redneck Nightjar. I would say it was a lifer, but it's on my list since yesterday. Fantastic. Great bird. Today we decided to take the ferry from Tavira town centre to Tavira Island and spend the morning relaxing on the beach. Of course, each morning starts with birding around the apartment, waiting for the wife to get ready, enjoying the usual activities of our house martins and swifts right from our balcony. And then in no time we were on the ferry motoring down the Glau River, passing underneath the motorway bridge where a small colony of swift had taken up residence. Leaving the bridge in the old town of Tavira behind you, the river opens up to more natural surroundings, with marshy muddy banks and the vast network of salt pans lying to the southeast of the town. The upper deck of the boat gives you great views to bird either side while travelling down the river to the Four Waters Pier and onto Tavira Island itself. Little turn. Another one. After finding a suitable spot to lie on the beach, I settled in to scan with my bins, and with a steady 12 mile an hour onshore breeze, it didn't take long to to start seeing several Cory shearwaters distantly offshore. Scattered in amongst the Cories were several Balearic shearwaters and northern gannets. However, I amazingly failed to photograph any Balearics, so you'll just have to settle for the set of distant Cories and gannets instead. After spending a bit of time sea watching, I decided to take a walk down the beach, passing several flocks of roosting gulls, comprising mostly of yellow-legged gulls. These gulls can be found throughout Europe, the Mediterranean, the Middle East and North Africa. The BOU retained the yellow-legged gull as a subspecies of the herring gull until 2007. However, DNA research now suggests yellow-legged gulls are actually closer to great blackback gulls. Many birds will stay in the same area all year round, but some do move south as far as Senegal, Gambia and the Red Sea. Gulls are omnivores and will hunt and scavenge for anything edible, even robbing other seabirds of their prey. They breed in colonies with 3 eggs normally laid between March and May. Nests are normally on the ground, but they are starting to nest on buildings, in cities and even large trees. I then decided to leave the shore and explore the nearby dune habitat, but all I could find here was a calling lark, which seemed to give me the runaround each time I thought I got close to it. Embarrassingly, the reason I couldn't pinpoint it was because it was calling about 50 meters above my head, but weirdly the call was so loud at times it sounded like it was right in front of me, and then a few moments later behind me. Oh well, I guess you can't win them all. After returning to the ferry terminal area, I did a little birding around the restaurants and buildings there, waiting for the ferry to arrive, finding this lovely siren singing from a nearby tree. After returning from Tavira Island and a day at the beach, Karen wanted to lie by the pool, which of course freed me up again to return to the salt pans to do some late afternoon birding.
Yellow wagtail. When you walk the salt pans, you can't help but put up everything. There's lots of nests and things all around these pans as you walk along, which you are allowed to do. You unfortunately put up avocets and black-winged stilts all over the place.
The Iberian yellow wagtail, a subspecies of the western yellow wagtail family, is a summer visitor which occurs on the Iberian Peninsula, southwest France and northwest Africa. The male has a grey head, white supercilium, dark grey cheek, white throat and yellow belly with black legs. They can be found in pairs all over the salt pans.
Some little fern. Just had 3 or 4 siren on the left hand side of that pan. A couple of flamingos on that side. Got a godwit flying there, black-tailed godwit. Pretty low in raptors around here, to be honest. I've only had a single kestrel the entire time I've been here, which seems a bit odd. You would think these places would have like marsh harrier and stuff like that. or peregrine, or I think that's a Zitin testicular. Yep. Or is that going to go down? Okay, I'm going to try for that. That'll be a new bird for the trip. They can sit down and disappear on you, but I watched it go down, so I know exactly where it went down. I'm going to turn off for a bit because it's a little bit hidden away here. I don't want to flush it.
Zitin testicular or streaked fantail warbler is widely distributed in southern Europe, Africa, southern Asia and all the way down to northern Australia. During the breeding season, it's the males that have the zigzagging flight display and zitting calls from which they get their name. There's much variation across their range, with up to 18 subspecies making up the family. A tiny grassland bird of only around 11 centimeters in length. In the non-breeding season, they tend to skulk within the grass and can be hard to see.
Might be a bit too far for you, but I got about 6 or 7 Audubon's gulls up there. Nice little Zitin testicular. It's quite hot. It's now 5 o'clock in the afternoon. It's not ideal coming this late, but it's not a birding holiday. It's a family holiday, so I can only get away when I can. And that happens to be 5 o'clock in the afternoon. It's quite hot, but not unbearable, so still worth coming out. You are allowed to walk around here. I actually drove around to start off with, and the guy came and told me that I wasn't allowed in here with my car, but it was perfectly fine to walk around. So, which is mind-boggling, because in the UK you just wouldn't be allowed in here because of this. You set up just about every bird on every pan, but I'm perfectly in my rights to walk around. You just can't help it here because every pan has a pair of black-winged stilts or avocets or little tern, etc., etc. So, but this is a walking track, so perfectly legal to do so. A few flamingos on the other side there. I don't know if you can see. I'll try and get around there. I'm trying to stay on the main tracks, of course, where the cars go. I'm not going too off-piste. I'm only 5 minutes from my apartment as well, which is great. So the whole south side of Tavira is full of pans, and obviously the river comes down, the lagoon. So the birding's very good here, and all within, walking distance from Tavira main town square kind of thing. So all very nice and doable. I've just come walking along this road down here, and as I'm passing this section, I've just found a little tern nest. I'm not staying too long, of course. Just walking past and happened to see it, so I'll carry on. Yeah, so literally just on the side of the road there. Amazing. Okay, let's carry on. These ponds are not tidal. They're salt pans. So little ringed plover. There comes the little tern now. Probably its nest. So I'll just carry on walking. These salt pans remind me a lot of South Africa, but in South Africa you can of course drive around without an issue. Permission given of course, but we do all our birding from the car. We use the car as a hide, so I think there's much more disturbance walking around, to be honest, but they want you to walk, not ride, so I do what I'm told. Another little turn. Yeah, of course, that's the reason why you don't try not to walk too much off piste, you stay on the track. A couple of waders there, dark one there on the end, Dunlin, and then Kentish plover, another Kentish plover. Just had a pair of bee eaters go over, probably the same pair that I photographed yesterday. Some of the work vehicles. Little turn. Again, same little turn. Okay, I've just done a little loop of the salt pans immediately south of our apartment. Nice and close to get to. Jam-packed full of birds. Great little place. Now I'm gonna walk around this massive pan and jump back into the car and drive to a new spot which is southwest of Tavira. There's a much longer walk. I've not been there yet, so I don't know what I'm going to see there. But I've pretty much done these pans now. I've birded here 2 days in a row, so swallow. Yeah, so I'm just going to go around the bottom of this pan, all the way back up, and go around back to the car. I heard a lark on the other side, probably crested lark again. I got that on the first day. See if we can pick that up before heading out and then driving to the southwest.
Just as a matter of interest, I measured this pan when I got home, only to find it was 700 meters long. Tavira really do like their salt pans on a massive scale.
So I've just walked all the way down around, and now I'm just heading back up to the car. In this scrubby vegetation on the left here, you'll get all your larks and your Zittinsesticulars and Seren, house sparrows, of course. Yeah, but it's the larks you want. Crested lark, Thekla lark. I think there's a third one, Calendra lark or something like that. Quite a big brutish thing. I'm not sure if they're down this far west. Far east. But definitely Thekla and crested lark. Some rock doves. Yeah, as I said, this is not a full-on birding trip, so I can only grab my birding when we finished our activities for the day or in the early morning, and then I can zip out and do my things. Kran's at the pool at the moment, so I'm free as a bird. Got some rock dove here. I don't know if they're legit or not, or just ferals. They look like legit. The white bums. Yeah, I don't know. I'll have to look that up when I get back. I may take a photograph of them just in case they are legit. Not sure if you can hear that, but I think there's a lark up here somewhere. This far bank. Earlier I had a lark on the beach. I went looking for it. Kept jumping around the sound. For the life of me, I couldn't find it until I looked straight up. It was about 200 meters above my head. So, not now though. I think it's singing quite low down on that far bank somewhere. But I'm not going to go all the way to the other side. Walk around this beast in this hot sun. No, thank you. Right, cars somewhere here. We're there somewhere. So head to the car quick. Just had a massive flock of glossy ibis, about, I don't know, 30, 40 birds or so. I'll have to check that. When they came flying in from back here. I thought it was cormorants until I had a closer look. Blimey. I've only had more than that in South Africa at one go. There's a healthy population. It's a triptych as well, which is nice. Obligatory black-winged stilt. Coming to tell me to bugger off, which I am. Okay. I was hoping those glossies were going to do a roundabout and drop in somewhere, but I'm not that lucky. These pans are also on a biblical scale as well. They're huge. Look at this beast here. Must be like, I don't know, good 500 meters long. Great place.
From the salt pans immediately south of our apartment, I decided to check out a new area just south of Tavira itself.
Okay, I'm now in the southwest of Tavira. There's a whole massive expanse of salt pans down here as well. This is actually a designated walking route as well. So, I mean, we were earlier way on the other side, so this is quite a distance away from where we were. I've not been here before, so you'll see it when I see it. So again, you can walk all over the place here, you just can't drive. So I'm just going to walk in and around all these salt pans and see what we see. Quite a bit bigger than the area we were in now. It's a massive network of salt pans, and again, you can walk around, you're just not allowed to drive. So I'm just going to wander around, take every road I can, kind of thing, and just see what we can find. You can hear bird calls all over the place. Obligatory avocets and black-winged stilts, thousands of them. Had a bunch of seren as I walked in as well. Too quick for me. Got little tern, black-winged stilt, I think it's western or Iberian yellow wagtail. Avocet on that point there. Wagtail here, got a wagtail on this side as well somewhere. Got a shell duck right down the bottom. It's the first of the trip. Got a whole bunch of flamingos there. Good 100, 150 odd in the distance. More over here. These ponds here seem to be much more naturally lined and not so worked. I'm not sure if they're turning them into sort of a nature reserve or whatever, but the banks are very vegetated compared to the other ones that I was at earlier. These muddy banks are completely rammed with small crabs and crab holes. It's the crab with the larger white claw for, I guess, trying to impress your rivals. There's thousands of them. Don't know if that's a good sign of a healthy ecosystem, but it looks amazing. One of my top tips for birding in the Mediterranean is to take a bottle of water and freeze it the night before, because it's amazing to drink when you're swelteringly hot in the Mediterranean heat. You'll thank me later, I promise. I can hear a lark just on the other side, so I'm going to come and walk this across the bridge and see if I can just view down there. More siren and linnets. So I've got lots of Mediterranean gulls and black-tailed godwits flying over. Got Sardinian warbler down here. Crested lark is just over there somewhere. Hello, we're having fun? I am. Okay, I think I'm going to call it. I'm very hot. Ah, Sardinian warbler.
After 3 lovely days in Tavira, we head westwards towards Faro, Carvero and Lagos, so keep an eye out for part 2 of birding in southern Portugal, as I'll be covering these areas in the next video. But for now, I'll leave you with scenes from our nightly balcony sundowner session. How awesome is that? The whole gang of them, yeah.